Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from worldwide. I'm Sterling. It's great to have you back on the channel. This show is being recorded for Sunday, February 6, 2022. And just a quick reminder that all these shows are for entertainment purposes only. So all the information I share with you comes directly through my guides and angels, extended spiritual team, ETs, famous people from history. So for entertainment purposes only. I also want to give a quick shout out to the fact that we just crossed our 1 year anniversary on February 4th of being on YouTube. And that's kind of a wonderful accomplishment. It went very, very quickly. And really sincere thanks to all the supporters and people that submit comments and questions and subscribers. So very happy that it all seems to be going very well and just wonderful support from the community at large. So thank you very much. I also want to mention that we still are continuing our contest. So every time we reach a new 1,000 level of subscribers, so we're headed right now towards 21,000 subscribers, I give away a free half-hour session with myself. And the way you enter the contest is just by leaving comments on these shows, starting off with the word love, and you need to be a subscriber. And as long as you start off with the comment with the word love, we know you want to be entered into the contest. So that's how we know. And then we pick the winner from the actual show where we cross 21,000 subscribers. So hopefully that's helpful. Last but not least, I always get asked how to reach me for a session. The easiest way to do it is sterlingpsychicmedium.com. Look for the book a session tab. And my calendar is always kept up to date by my team. It's real time and very automated process there. So sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab, and it's very easy from there. So today I thought we would go through a top 50 or top 51 list of frequently asked questions. The way all these questions are garnered is we put out a request on either Monday or Tuesday of the week before the show on Sunday, asking for topics and questions. That's on the community board for Sterling Psychic Medium on the YouTube channel, and that's how we garner all the questions. So I think we had almost 400 questions this week, or 385 or something. So thank you again for all the support. My wife Linda goes through all the questions and really tries to, garner down questions that haven't been asked before, and then I take a look at them here live with you here on the show. So with no further ado, let's get started. The first question we had, I'll call it a bonus question 51, was, does Thich Nhat Hanh have anything he wants to share with us? And I forget how to pronounce his name. Thich Nhat Hanh was a Vietnamese Buddhist teacher who just passed away. And I really wasn't familiar with him at all, but I spoke with him yesterday, and then also this morning. He's around right now. And one of the things he wanted to get across to everybody was that, he really felt that his biggest contribution to mankind, humankind, was mindfulness teaching and around a lot of the Buddhist religion. And that he felt they wanted to know everybody to know that they have the power within themselves. They have God energy within themselves to do whatever they need to, and that we're all teachers. So he actually, fancies himself as obviously a very gifted spiritual leader, but wanted everybody to know that we have the God energy inside ourselves, that we're all teachers. And he also wanted to acknowledge the fact he met up with a lot of his brothers and sisters. I'm talking about Buddhist brothers and sisters and Vietnamese brothers and sisters when he passed over, kind of a larger family of people, and that he wanted to express sincere thanks to the Dalai Lama for all, the guidance and friendship that he showed him in life. So a wonderful individual. I did not know him or familiar with him in life, but somebody asked the question, and so hopefully that's helpful. Just a wonderful spiritual leader. And in fact, even after this show, I'll probably do a little more research on him, but wonderful energy. And it looks like he was very closely aligned in many ways with the Dalai Lama as well. So nice guy. Very nice. Okay, let's start off with question 51 in our top countdown today. Recently, 45 came out and said Pence should have gone along with trying to overthrow the election. Will this admission swiftly lead to indictments of 45, either federally or on some state level, or both? I don't get this is going to expedite the process, but I get it's almost like one more nail in the coffin, so to speak. So a lot of the information that the DOJ and the FBI and other parts of the government are already analyzing are already pretty substantive. And so this particular admission regarding Pence is not going to expedite anything, but it's kind of one more nail in the coffin. Number 50, Democratic Senator Lujan from New Mexico has had a stroke. That's unfortunate. Will he recover and be able to return to work? Yes, it appears he's going to go through a recovery process and then return to work. And it appears that whatever happened to him may have been related to the pandemic in some way. So I wish him all the best, but looks like through some medical treatment, he'll be able to return to work. 49. Fascinated with Pence saying Trump is wrong. Does it have to do with his knowing which way the wind is blowing now? Or is he trying to do something to mitigate problems he may have with the January 6th commission? Well, I'm being told it's all the above. So he is going to try to make a run for president for 2024. It won't be a successful campaign, but all this is part of him realigning for an intended run for president, but doesn't look like it'll be successful. 48. Do you see the remnants of Lemuria and Atlantis emerging to the surface for us to discover? If the land masses are discovered, what possible timeline do you see this occurring? Well, I get Lemuria is under the Indian Ocean and Atlantis is under the Atlantic Ocean. And I get scientists have already found remnants and indications. And I'm also getting that with further developments in very sophisticated ground penetrating radar, they'll be able to uncover more and more details. So over the next decade here, we're going to see very substantive evidence of both of these civilizations and cities. Yes. 47. I had a dream. I heard the word Pleiadians and was told to be ready and that they were always with me. I don't know anything about Pleiadians. Can you shed some light on what this might mean? So Pleiadians are humanoid extraterrestrials, like they call them the tall Nordic type of aliens. They do come from the Pleiades star system. And the message I'm getting is that you were being told to prepare. So listen to the messages that they're to convey. And this is all part of a bit of an awakening for you. Absolutely. 46. My question is in regards to the ERA, the Equal Rights Amendment. The DOJ just changed its legal opinion on whether it can still pass, regardless of how many years it's been pending. Do you see it passing as an amendment to the Constitution under Biden? Yes, I do. I believe, and I know this just from watching some of the news, that I think already maybe 38 states have already adopted the Equal Rights Amendment. So now it's certainly a real matter that Congress can take up, the White House can take up, and it does look like within 2 years it'll be a full amendment to the Constitution. So congratulations on that. Long time in coming. I don't know if it's been 2 decades or three decades when that was first proposed, but it looks like we're finally going to get to the point where it becomes an amendment. 45. Why hasn't Mark Meadows been arrested for not complying with the subpoena? Trump gave him $1 million for his foundation. Well, this will all move forward with a larger 45 investigation, and we're going to see a lot of let's call it a dam break, some big announcements here in 2022, right around mid-year, so around summer. But we're going to start to see a lot of big dam breaks of information coming forward, including things that will address Mark Meadows for entertainment purposes only. 44. Is there more to why Jeff Zucker is resigning from CNN? It can't be just for not disclosing a consensual relationship. Well, unfortunately, I get that there's some other ties here to 45 and some GOP efforts and things to kind of silence the Comos, both Andrew and Chris. And it looks like there's something there that they didn't want to be discovered. I happen to know just from industry that, this relationship was well known by the industry. And so the disclosure of Jeff Zucker's relationship was not new news and kind of very well known within the industry. So yeah, there are other reasons, and there's some sort of a back end effect here on what was going around 45 and his desires to silence the Comos. Yeah. 43. My question comes from my son, who is autistic and had written books about his passion, conservation, wildlife. He's very interested in de-extinction, the reintroduction through DNA of species that have been extinct, like Jurassic Park. Will there be a day when we'll be able to repopulate extinct species? And will there be proper environments where we could be returned to? Or will the new species that filled those areas make it impossible for them to return? Well, interesting enough, I do see many species returning that were extinct based on what I'm going to call accelerating DNA. So using DNA from prehistoric or extinct animals, that coupled with gene editing technology will start to restore certain species. And this is going to be over a couple of decades, but we'll start to restore species. I'm being told they're going to start off with birds and some smaller mammals first and then move on. And it's interesting. I know this question came up many shows ago related to the woolly mammoth that at some point will be restored as well. So yeah, tell your son that it's all on the way and he'll be alive to see it. 42. Will a money laundering scheme ever come out about Ivanka's part in the Trump International Hotel and Tower of Baku, an unfinished 33-floor hotel and condominium tower located in Baku, Azerbaijan? Yes, I'm being told that the evidence is already out there and that the investigations are already quite active. And so this is an ongoing investigation and information will be coming out. So I think the question was, again, for entertainment purposes only, but a lot of the business dealings related to this particular 33-floor tower hotel will be coming out public, and they're already well understood by the authorities. 41. I've eaten a whole food plant-based diet for over 12 years. I believe that eating plants and not animals or animal products is the future, not only for our own health, but for the life of our planet and animals. What do your guides say about the future of plant-based eating for all? I believe that over the next 10 to 20 years here, maybe a little faster, that we're going to see a lot of plant-based diets get very, very popular, along with the advancements they're telling me of new proteins. So in some respects, it's almost like you saw the Impossible Burger spring onto the scene and people said it tastes wonderful, it's plant-based, but they're just telling me there'll be more developments of new proteins coupled with plant-based diets that are going to make a much more of a common, widespread diet for the major part of the population. So yes, it will. 40. Why can a person develop telepathy with one person and not others? This all has to do with the development of neurotransmitters in the brain. So it depends on kind of the level of activation, if you will, of the neurotransmitters, and that's the primary reason. 39. 3 times I've seen people's faces melting. What does this mean? Are spirits protecting me from them by letting me know what kind of people to stay away from? I'm being told this condition exists for 2 fundamental reasons. One is medical, one is psychic. So if it's a medical reason, this is an optical effect that has something to do with the eye and the brain connection. So that could be diagnosed, provided it's not a medical condition. It is a psychic phenomenon. And this is actually your angels and guides giving you a warning sign that the people you're dealing with are not who they say they are or not to be trusted. So this is a bit of a psychic, even clairvoyant, so you can see warning. So pay attention to it. It's a skill you have. And I think that's a skill worth developing. You'll be able to utilize it very successfully. 38. When someone battles with their weight for years, whether it be 20 pounds or 50 pounds, is there a spiritual meaning for this or a lesson that they need to learn? How does one move past this struggle from a spiritual perspective? Well, first off, everything we experience on the planet, in terms of how we align with our life path, is affected by our own internal and external energy. So in terms of our anxiety and wellness and the way we kind of align with the universe. So since everything you deal with in the universe affects you energetically, it also affects things like, body chemistry and hormones. So there's an effect there. Weight is affected by kind of your spiritual health or well-being, let's say. There's also, they're telling me, another life path element. So, for example, you might be on a life path to help others with better eating habits or healthier eating habits or fitness. So, in fact, you might be somebody that went through life and then lost 40 or 50 pounds and are now kind of a teacher or a leader in a health area. So, there's two different ways that it affects you. But take a look at your spiritual and well-being balance, and also take a look if this is not something also on your life path to help others on their journey. Okay, 37. Why are ETs making a human ET hybrid race? Are they being created to replace us? No, they're being created to enhance our life skills. So, this is actually a very deep question. There's a lot of information on it, but over hundreds of years, ETs have been integrated in dealing with the human population. And in some respects, they're helping to enhance our capabilities. Like you see more psychic mediums and more intuitive people on the planet. So it's not a race to replace us, but they're doing it for reasons of enhancement. So hopefully that helps. They're reminding me that if you look at individuals in history like Nikola Tesla, certainly had enhanced capabilities to communicate with the other side and ETs, and a lot of the scientific developments he had were enhanced by that. So they're not trying to replace us, but it's an enhancement. 36. Hi, Sterling. Was the mass extinction of dinosaurs a planned event? And can they be seen on the other side? Well, it is all part of the master Akashic records. And yes, the life cycle and then eventual distinction of dinosaurs were part of a life path and part of the Akashic records blueprint. But we do see them. They do exist on the other side in heaven, and many of them are part of the angelic realm, being animals. And so they are on the other side, and you can see them when you pass over. 35. Did Trump play a role in the recent demise of both Como brothers, Andrew and Chris? Will the Como brothers exact revenge on Trump? So this is a little similar to the question we had earlier in the show, but yes, I believe that 45, his organization, through some senior leadership, for example, in government and with CNN, had some effect on the career paths of both the Como brothers. And I think eventually there will be some legal cases that will be brought to light that the Como brothers will bring about. And I do see longer term, I see a really complete vindication of both Andrew and Chris Como. 34. On February 2nd, the UK scrambled fighter jets for an unidentified flying object over Scotland. Was this extraterrestrial? No. This appears to be some sort of a military jet scramble. So whatever they were seeing could be identified, and it looks like they weren't unknown aircraft. Looks like this may in fact been Russian aircraft or Russian jets, so not extraterrestrials, no. 33. The permafrost in Siberia is starting to thaw due to global warming. This could be a catastrophe for humankind, as would release huge amounts of methane into the atmosphere. Do you see ETs or non-earthly beings helping us with this? Can you see possibilities of a resolution at all? Yeah, so this melting of the permafrost, so that's ground that is permanently frozen, it doesn't even thaw out in summertime, deep below the surface in Siberia. In fact, it's been around for 360,000 years or something. So due to global warming, there will be some melting of the permafrost, and I'm seeing maybe 10% or 15%. And then the ETs or individuals here helping us, our extraterrestrial friends, will be helping with the releases of the methane gas and how that gets ported off. So a big question here, but there is some melting of the permafrost, but there's going to be some help from our ET friends. 32. I've had a spirit in my house for some time, which is terrifying my dog. It also grabs my toes to wake me up. Is this a family member, guardian angel, or something else I brought to the home? This appears to be a family member that's crossed over. And interesting enough, to me, this comes across as actually a sibling. So if you had a sibling that's crossed over, this appears to be a sibling. They're trying to get your attention. And they're doing it in a playful, kind of a loving way. So just ask them to to stop, not disturb your sleep, and kind of approach you and later on in the day. But it's just a loving, benevolent spirit, family member. 31. Will Fannie Willis, the state of Georgia, Fulton County District Attorney, or DA, be successful in prosecuting 45? Yes, 100% successful. And I believe I even saw in the news earlier this week that she's now shifted to bring on, I think, a grand jury, but she's now moving forward with forcibly getting people to testify or issue subpoenas and comply with subpoenas. So yeah, she'll be 100% successful. 30. When the aliens formally publicly introduce themselves along with world leaders, will they provide a fully accurate description of world history? For example, how events actually unfolded that explains humanity's current state? Yes. And in fact, they've already released a lot of information from many world leaders and many presidents, including like President Jimmy Carter. I think there was a question we had a few weeks ago that what information was shared with, I think it was Jimmy Carter, that he broke down in tears, and it was a bit of the history of the world and what had happened to some former populations. Yeah. 29. What do your guys have to say about numbers that some humans perceive as unlucky? For example, 666 and 13. No basis in reality or fact. In fact, the numbers 3, 6, and 9 are synonymous with constructs of the universe, atomic structure, the way the galaxies in the universe. So even Nikola Tesla professed that how the importance of the numbers 3, 6, 9. So if you go back into some sort of, whoever asked this question, are they unlucky 666 or 13? No, that's a bit mythical. That's kind of based on some myths, but the numbers 3, 6, and 9 are very important to the construct of the universe and atomic structure. 28. I learned I had abilities as a child. My grandfather visited me after he was murdered. It's unfortunate. At the time, I thought he loved me and wanted to say goodbye. Now I wonder, was this an attempt to keep me safe? Do spirits do that? Stop by to protect us? Maybe woke me up, turns off the lights, and scared me or scared someone off. Yes, all spirits, loving family members, angels and guides, well, especially family members will come by to say goodbye. And that's very typical within 24 hours of passing, sometimes just before or just after passing. And so this experience was really just a benevolent experience. I'm looking to make sure I answer this question correctly. Love me and want to say goodbye. It appears they just want to say goodbye, and this is a routine thing that our family members can do. 27. What age are we in heaven? Do we have a physical body there? Do you live a normal life there with loved ones who have passed? Yes. Many individuals create a unique body image when they pass, and so you can create any body image you desire. Any race, any color, any creed, any sex, male or female, any age. It's all up to you. And I always, I refer to in kind of a very familiar sense. If you take a look at the Robin Williams movie, What Dreams May Come, there's a lot of very interesting facts in that movie that resonate with my experience with heaven and the way it all works. Not everything in the movie is accurate, but you'll see a lot of things, and including topics like we're talking about here in this question. But you can look any way you want and spend time with family members, complete free will. 26. Hi, Sterling. When I was a teenager, I developed a tumor that doctors thought for sure was cancer. My dad prayed and he said, please take me instead of her. 3 years later, my dad died. It turned out my tumor was just a benign fatty mass. Does the universe actually work that way? Well, no, not exactly. So your father had whatever was going on with him on his unique life path as you did. So your father was not able to, for example, take the cancer over from you. Of course, it wasn't cancer. But so everybody stays kind of in their lane, if you will, on their life path or their life blueprint. And so this question does come up a lot where people will pray and say, take me, take the cancer. But it's really part of their life path. They intuitively know something about their life path, but they're not taking the cancer from somebody else. So hopefully that helps. 25. Will there be a cure for sleep apnea? Yes. nearly a complete cure within 5 years based on surgery and health and weight loss techniques and even some electrical stimulus techniques. So a combination of almost 3 or 4 factors here within 5 years will end up being kind of a complete comprehensive treatment for sleep apnea. Okay, 24. Thank you, Sterling. Can you have an NDE, a near-death experience, during surgery? Just asking because I once was in a very bright conference room with departed loved ones who were dressed in dark hooded robes. It scared me at first on one level because of the dark robes, but yet peaceful at the same time. They told me who they were and said if I saw them, I wouldn't want to come back. As I woke up, I felt like I traveled back into my body saying, no. I've always wondered if it was the anesthesia or there is a middle ground where we can go. Well, you're absolutely describing a near-death experience, an NDE, and that's very common. If it's not your time, when you cross over and start making the journey, you've exited your body, start making the journey. If it's not your time, it's very common for relatives or family members not to show their faces or not to try to bring you across if it's not your time. That usually your birth angel will send you back. So you're describing what is a full NDE to me. Many times people will float out of their body, even go up to, let's say, roofs of hospitals and see, let's say, a tennis shoe on the roof that they could have not normally seen as part of that journey. But NDEs, as you're describing here, are very common. And it looks like you may, in fact, had a near-death experience on the operating table. So, sorry to hear that, but many people that have NDEs come back with a whole new, renewed sense of purpose and helping humankind. So congratulations. 23, could you please ask your guides if there will be a cure for pancreatic cancer? Yes, a full cure within 10 to 15 years using CRISPR technology. There will be. That's gene editing. 22, will the RNC lose many registered voters because of the censure of the 2 GOP members on the January 6th committee? Yes, so this refers to Cheney and Kinzinger, right? Kinzinger. And yes, I mean, I think they censored them because of what they were referring to legitimate political discourse, which obviously was ridiculous. And a lot of voters in the districts of Cheney and Kinzinger will move out of the Republican voting bloc, if you will, and move to either independent or Democratic. So this is going to cause a shift in the voting. And I think that was the question. Yeah, they're going to lose registered voters. They will in those districts. 21. Sterling, do you think that the use of the pendulum could open up portals that would allow bad entities to come into the house and create negative entity attachments to the person that is using it? I mean, no, not necessarily. I mean, the pendulum is a tool by which your guides and angels work through, much the same way tarot cards. Those are guides and angels working through those tools. Now, it's always a good idea to say a quick protective prayer. You don't want to bring through prankster spirits necessarily. But in regards to portals, pendulums don't open up portals. No. And so that's a whole nother discussion. But you could attract, more negative energy, more prankster spirits. That's possible. Quick protective prayer is all you need. But if you're an active, avid user of a pendulum, you're already working, very closely with your guides and angels. So really nothing to fear there. Okay, 20 in our countdown. How will Colonel Inman's case against Trump Jr. and Rudy Giuliani and 2 others pan out? Well, I see successful prosecution against the 4 individuals. So it looks like Jr. and Giuliani and 2 others. And this is all based on intimidation, I guess, during the trial process or the inquiry, if you will. So it looks like it'll be successful prosecution for Inman. 19. Hi, Sterling. There was always a strange energy in one of the upstairs rooms of my grandparents' house. My little cousins, under 3 at the time, would not want to go up there alone. Some would say they saw monsters or robots. Even to this day, I have dreams about being back there and feeling the heaviness of that place, like I am being watched or walking into something else. What is going on there? Well, I mean, what they're telling you in that environment, there are a number of what I'm going to call trickster spirits or lower level energy spirits, and they're attracted to that house or that environment because there are a number of things that happen in that house, Looks like a lot of emotional pain or grief or anxiety or depression that attracted them to that house. So that's what's going on there. Normally, if it's an ongoing problem, you can ask them to leave and ask them to go back into the light, and even use a little smudging, if you will, using a little sage. So got some trickster spirits there, but you can ask them to leave. Number 18, can you see the health and future of the rainforest of South America? Can so much destruction and pollution ever be undone? Yes, but this is going to take a few decades to turn around. And it looks to me like it spans across, what, 9 countries. So that's like Peru and Colombia and whatnot, Brazil. But anyway, it's going to take several decades to get this turned around. But through a lot of the efforts of many of the world governments, we're going to get it turned around. So we will. 17. I listened to your last show while I was walking. All this energy was flowing out my back. I stopped walking and just listened to your show for a minute, and the energy stopped flowing. I started walking and the energy flow started again. I then sat down and the energy stopped again until I started walking. There was a definite connection between listening to your show and walking. What was the energy flowing off of me? So this is analogous to what I call an information download. So you're receiving an information download, something that your guides and angels want you to hear. So just, take heed, and that's what it feels like to kind of get an energy flow, an energy download. So that's what the experience was about. 16. Hi, Sterling. I briefly saw something about 45 paying Mark Meadows $1 million right after the January 6th commission was formed. Is Trump using the money his supporters are doing to pay off people not to testify to the commission? Yes, absolutely. For entertainment purposes only. 15. Hello, Sterling. In 2019, my sister and her daughter were driving home on a rural highway late at night. They passed something standing on the side of the road. It was very tall, 7-8 feet, looked to be part bird and part human. There was enough light that night to see some detail, and she locked eyes with it as she drove by. She was going to turn the car around and go back, but her daughter freaked out and insisted she not go back. She also saw it. Can you tell us what this was? This, to me, is an extraterrestrial sighting, and the reason you witnessed it is they wanted you to witness it, but for whatever reason, you weren't of any interest to them, and so they moved on. So was an extraterrestrial sighting. 14. Will there ever be an accounting of Chris Wray for not investigating the over 4,500 tips that came in on the FBI tip line on Brett Kavanaugh's sex abuse allegations? Yes, I see a lot of this information coming out in the mid to latter portion here of 2022. So all this information is recorded, and it will all be coming out later on this year. 13. Can you please shed light on a 68-year-old mystery? My earliest memories are repeated nightmares during my first year. I found myself in a craft with a small, silent, emotionless beings. My fear was amplified by the fact that I was only an infant and could not explain these terrors to my mother. Coincidentally or not, I've been a lifelong insomniac. Any idea of what this was all about? Well, they're telling me you had very early interaction with ETs, but they were there to save your life, interestingly enough. So where some ET interactions are there because they're exploratory surgery or something else, for you, they're interacting to save your life. So you probably have an important life path here, and they were meant to help save you. 12. Will there be a complete worldwide internet blackout, including Facebook and YouTube, before summer comes? No complete worldwide blackout. We'll experience a lot of solar flares and what I'm going to call CMEs. They're called corona mass ejections from the sun. Now, CMEs, or corona mass ejections from the sun, have different sizes and scale. So we'll see minor CMEs out into next year, 2023. They happen all the time, but minor ones that will cause disruption, not worldwide blackouts. If I look decades and decades into the future, we'll have some larger CMEs we're really going to have to contend with. but we'll have some ET support in dealing with those. So because the question was about Facebook or YouTube outages worldwide, not in 2022 due to sun activity, no. 11. When I was around 12 years old, my sister and I were in our bedroom on the bed, and we looked up to a crawl space in front of us, and sitting there was an all black, shiny, leathery person who looked like a devil with a black long tail. He was smoking and leaning back against the wall. He looked down at us, and his face was our mother's face. We both looked at each other in shock because we saw the same thing. We looked back, and he was gone. What was this, and why did it present with our mother's face? So this is a trickster spirit. It's not an evil. It's not a devil. But the reason they used your mother's face was all part of kind of the trickster concept. So they really were trying to have some fun with you. I mean, not much fun. I get it when you're a young child. But these are trickster spirits. Now, this person, I think they said they were 12 at the time. You know, young children up to 5 or 6 or 7 can easily see these things all the time. At 12, that must mean you and your sibling were maintaining some psychic mediumship ability. But, you know, this is a trickster spirit. And the fact they show your mother's face was all part of the trick. 10. Will red and near infrared light therapy soon be proven effective for treating PTSD? Yes, absolutely, because it appears to penetrate brain cells, and this will be very effective. And I see ongoing tests right now. So within a few short years here, this will be a very effective supplemental therapy for treating PTSD. Yes. I'm also being told that when this therapy takes place, somehow not only it penetrates brain cells, but it creates new compounds in the brain. So again, you know, not a doctor, but somehow it creates new compounds in the brain that are very healing. 9. Hi, Sterling. Missouri Republican Attorney General Schmidt opposes school mask mandates and had filed several lawsuits against school districts. He is also planning to run for the Senate race. Is he going to be elected as senator? No, I do not see him elected as senator. It appears to be someone else. No. 8. What are the significance of the color of orbs? My mother saw a brown one and a black one in her home. So the color of orbs represents energetic level. So this gets a little scientific, but you know, the higher the frequency, shorter the wavelength, higher energetic level of orbs, they move towards, you know, more towards the blue and violet spectrum. Now, lower energetic orbs fall more towards the red or lower levels of the spectrum, larger wavelength. So it has to do with the energetic level of the orbs you're looking at. 7. Will North Carolina activists be successful against Madison Cawthorn, who took part in the January 6th insurrection using the 14th Amendment? Yes, it appears North Carolina activists here will be successful in shutting down his campaign or candidacy due to his involvement in the January 6th insurrection. Yeah, North Carolina activists. Yep. 6. Is A.G. Merrick Garland getting death threats, and does he have better than adequate security? Yes, unfortunately, he's getting constant death threats. Are members of the FBI and the DOJ, but they all have adequate security at this time. And unfortunately, this is part of the landscape they're dealing with. Absolutely. Okay, question number 5. Akian Kramaric paint a famous painting of Jesus. Is this the real face of Jesus? So I get this is a young girl whenever this was painted, and I get that it's very close to the likeness of Jesus, but he has much darker skin. So reality is darker skin than whatever is depicted in this painting. Number 4, when do you see 45 no longer being able to cause chaos? It's going to take another 2 to 3 more years before a lot of this dies out. So we're looking at kind of as we get into 2024, 2025, but we'll still see a lot of nonsense and chaos for another 2 to 3 years here. 3, will the Dems have at least 60 seats in the Senate after the midterm elections? No, I don't see 60 seats for the Democrats. I see them at the very least maintaining what they have. And it looks like a few more seats being gained. So maybe one or two more seats. I wish it was larger than that, but it's going to be a fight to the death. So I don't see 60 seats for the Democrats, but it may, I think right now it's 48 Democrats and then 2 independents that vote with the Democrats. So the Democrats may end up with 50 or 52 seats altogether, something of that nature. So that's what they're telling me. Number 2, do you see anything coming up this week? I see the FBI releasing recorded tapes of 45 or White House discussions. Somehow this comes into play. I see some sort of retaliation in the Middle East regarding the ISIS leader that was taken out. That's coming. I see continued talks between 4 world powers. Looks like China, Russia, the US, and the Ukraine regarding the Ukraine. So a lot more back-end discussions. And I see much more aggressive new activity around the vaccines. I know it broke last week that the vaccine's available for children under 5, but I still see even much more aggressive good news around the vaccines. And also looks like another gene therapy being talked about for COVID. Well, good for them. That's good. And number 1, do you see anything? I'm sorry. Do you have anything your guides want to share? Yes. Promises you make to yourself and others are all part of your commitment to the universe. So take them seriously. So that means the commitments you make in daily life to improve your life and the lives of others are commitments you make not only to yourself, but commitments you make to the universe. So take them seriously. So hopefully that helps. It's wonderful getting together with everybody. Thanks again for the wonderful 1-year anniversary. And I think we're up to there's almost 21,000 subscribers and 1.5 million views of the videos on the channel. So thank you to everyone's support. Again, anyone needs to reach me, just navigate to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab. And I want to wish everybody just a wonderful Sunday, a wonderful weekend, a wonderful week ahead. Wishing you a lot of goodwill, a lot of love to you and your families, and take care. I'll see you next week.